everybody. So it's so nice to see everybody, and I'm so excited about the continuity between what Amy was just talking about and Steve, who spent last year with us as our artist in residence talking about design, that there's just so much connection for all of us. As you know, Steve is going to be talking about planning your plein air season. So now we've talked about the whole journey that you're on, and he's going to give us some ideas about that. And, you know, Steve has been this award-winning plein air painter. He's going to be doing programs in Cedarburg, talking about and teaching about plein air. He's somebody that does demos, one in oil and one in watercolor at the same time, same scene. Just a remarkable painter. He is incredibly generous in his time. It's one of the reasons that we wanted to invite him to be our artist in residence. He's agreed to do it again for us this year, which means he will continue not only talking about design, but some more of the mindfulness related to that in this coming year. And also he's going to be doing, so that you'll see 2 articles a month from Steve. And then he's also going to be doing 3 critiques for us during the year. So you hear a little bit more about that today. So anyway, Steve, I don't want to take another second of your time, and welcome and thank you so much for one more time just giving us you and all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
And Steve's handout is, there's a link to it in the chat. So all of you can open that and follow along as well.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Mary, for all that you're doing for this group. It's been a blessing to really be a part of this, and so let's get going. I'm excited for what I'm going to be sharing today. This is our studio. My wife and I are both painters. I've been painting professionally since 1981 as an architectural illustrator. And about 2003, I got promoted to management, and my wife says, you know, Steve, you're not painting anymore. So we kind of joined the plein air movement back then, went to a number of good workshops that taught us how to paint, both in watercolor, acrylic, and oil. And now I'm kind of in semi-retirement and teaching and painting my heart out. So I'm here to talk a little bit about intent and design, events, exhibits, and education, art, and sharing our art. And I wrapped it all up into a word called ideas. And let me share my screen with you. We all see that now?
We see it, Steve.
Okay. There we go. This is the handout that you can download at your leisure. This is the main page, everything on one page. The acronym I'm using is ideas. I want to talk about this as a tool that you can use to design this year's plein air event as a season, more or less. The first letter in ideas is intent, and I'm just using questions to kind of spur answers for you individually, and how these are going to be answered by you on your journey for your art this season. And just like you would plan a painting, I'd like to use this as an opportunity to plan your season of plein air painting. What is your intent? What's my intent? And I'll just read every now and then. I'll read my intent for this year, and if you could pull examples or ideas from my intent, go right ahead. But this year I want to paint with full intent, with presence and full mindfulness on every painting. I need to slow down personally. I'm typically a fast painter, and I just need to slow down and enjoy the process. What's my plein air experience? What does my plein air experience want to be this year? For me, again, being mindful and joyful. I want to be well connected. I want to be story filled, and I want to, like Amy said, have a full painting full of discovery and insights. So how do I want to design this season? Just like you would design a painting, you have the ability to design this season of plein air painting. What are a few of your goals that you want to achieve? For me, I want to paint the truth. I want to find little views that people rarely see. I want to seek and find the connections that are out there. I believe connections are really what draw people to your painting, and either in connecting up shapes, connecting up objects, connecting up values even. All these really add, for me, add connections and values to that painting. The second word is design, the D in ideas. And I love Amy's quote of Dean Cornwall's, every image is a design project. I'm going to put that up on my easel, Amy. Thank you for that. Design is so important. If you haven't read the Artist in Residence blog posts on design, there's about 24, 25 of them that were done last year. I went into detail on the elements and principles of design. So there's a lot of reading that you can go through in there. It's all on the Plein Air Painters of Chicago website. But design is so important, and ask yourself, why is design important to me? For me, I wrote, it's the major factor in connecting the viewers to art. People are going to be attracted to your design. Opposite light. If it's not well designed, they're going to walk right by it. How am I going to incorporate stronger design in my work this year? For me, I wrote going slow. Do preliminary sketches. Don't settle on the first sketch that you do. I want to spend quite a bit of time just studying the design of that composition, and then settle on something and then go all at it. How am I going to incorporate stronger design in my year? Be mindful of the power of strong design and use it. This is kind of a key one. What distractions do I need to reduce or eliminate? I'll be writing this year on mindfulness and all that entails. And a big part of that is going to be reducing the clutter and the noise that I have in my life. And I would encourage you all to do the same. The E within ideas is events, exhibits, and educate. I would encourage you all to, if you haven't been in any of the competitions, any of the painting paintouts, there's a number of them that are happening in the Chicagoland area. I would encourage you all to, sign up for one or two of these and give it your all. It's such a great experience painting in these competitions, and they're fun too. So write down a few that you're doing. I'm looking forward to Cedarburg, Wisconsin, Prairie Plein Air in Schaumburg, and the first brush of spring down in New Harmony, Indiana. Those are a few that we'll be doing. Plan on exhibiting your art at various venues. Write down these opportunities to exhibit your art and the dates that are out there. Like Amy said, get really good and then get yourself out there. These are great opportunities to show your work. Ask yourself, what workshops can I attend? Find an artist that you really like and see what workshops that they're holding. Bobby and I, my wife Bobby, went to a number of workshops all across the country to get really good at what we do. Also ask yourself what resources, books, DVDs, websites, and magazines that I could subscribe to and actually read. I know I love, acquiring knowledge and getting subscriptions to magazines and then no longer read it, but actually sit down and read it, carve out some time, and actually get good at what we do here. Who are the artists that you want to follow this year and why? For me, I've got three names: Mark Boges, Mark Anderson, and Mike Hernandez. These three guys, the three M's, I'm calling them, are my three artists that I really want to look at and follow this year. The A in ideas is art. What areas do I really want to focus on this year? For me, I want to focus more on watercolor, perhaps gouache, and get some experience in that. What are my strong areas? Write these down, get to know them. And then areas of growth. These are your weaker areas that you really want to get better at. For me, I wrote down gouache. I want to get better at watercolor and oil. I want to really do all three mediums this year. And finally, the S is share and supplies. How does sharing, meaning showing and selling your work, help me achieve my goals? What can I do to share more of my art? And supplies. What supplies really need inventory? For us, it's frames and the panels. It's a constant battle between preparing those panels for frames and acquiring frames for the panels. So it's a little of both, but make sure you have good inventory. If you need product, get it before you need it. And then one last item on here: what can I do to improve the storage and transporting of frames and art? This is a kind of a sticking point for all of us. When we are traveling to events, the frames get dinged up and damaged, and what can we do to really protect those? I'm making those Lee Radke bags that he promoted and used. So those are really good ideas. All right. These are a few of the things we're going to be promoting this year. As Mary mentioned, I'm honored to be the artist in residence this year again. Last year, we all wrote about the elements and principles of design. Again, if you haven't read some of those, they're available on the Plein Air Painters Chicago website. This year, I'm looking forward to writing about mindfulness. And then this year, we'll also have 3 opportunities to what we're calling tune-ups, adjusting the plein air process on April 28th, July 28th, and November 3rd. We'll have online via Zoom critiques and kind of pointers to see where we're at this year, this season, and really assess some of the art that we're producing. What can we do to get better? What are people doing that is working, and what we can improve on going forward. And then lastly, I do have a few workshops that are happening this year. I am teaching at the Palette and Chisel on Wednesday evenings, watercolor mediums, the watercolor, gouache, and acrylic. May I have a 3-day workshop up in Cedarburg, Wisconsin, May 20th, 22nd. September 7th and 10th, I'm teaching up in Door County for watercolor. I'm teaching a 2-day workshop in Fort Wayne, Indiana in September. And then on September 18th in Barrington, Illinois, we have a 1-day workshop. And all these can be found on my website. Or just text me and email me any questions. So with that, I'll wrap it up, Mary, and answer any questions if there are any.
Okay, thanks, Steve. You know, somebody just asked about the bags you're talking about, and I ran out because I just happened to have them like within a few feet away. But maybe you can explain what they are.
Yeah. I went to Lowe's and I got my roll of insulation. It's corrugated insulation bubble wrap that you cut out. You lay your frame down there and then you fold it over, and then with insulation tape, you would just tape it all closed and fold it up, and you create a nice bubble wrapped bag that houses your frames, and it's super easy. Yeah.
I have a Velcro on mine.
Velcro, yeah.
Close.
So we're looking forward to using that this year because there's 2 painters in our family. We have twice the amount of gear and frames, and so we're really looking forward to maintaining and managing our supplies in a better way.
So Steve, a couple other questions. There's a question here about the 3 M's. Could you repeat those, please? And maybe we can put them later in the chat for people.
Mark Boges is doing some really good work. Boedges, Mark Boges. And that's Mark with a K. Look him up. Sign up for his emails. He's doing some pretty consistent emails, really good ideas on painting. He's an oil painter. Mark Anderson, Mark with a C. He's a painter up in Wisconsin. Also doing amazing work. He's on the recent cover of Plein Air magazine. And Mike Hernandez. Mike is a gouache painter mainly, but he's also, his job is working with DreamWorks as a background artist. So he's got some good experience in the entertainment field. And but look all 3 of those guys up. They're young guys. And then do your own research. If there is an artist that is doing work out there that is really attracting you, and your mind, your attention. Get to know them, research them, and inquire about, you know, if they're doing any workshops. It's worth, I don't want to say stalk, but it's worth, you know, getting involved with them and seeing, you know, what you can learn from them. 'Cause,
And Steve, I have a question for you. When you were talking about intent for the season, where, for you, where does that fit for your journey as an artist, you know, and how do you think about it the long term? So we have those things that you were talking about for this year, for 2022, and then where do you think about how that fits for your long-term journey?
Oh, great question. I think intent is the most important part of any venture that you're doing, whether it's large or small, whether it's a single painting or your life. It really all comes down to your big why question. You know, why am I doing this? Why am I painting this painting? Why am I doing, you know, all of this work? What's your big purpose? And you have to answer that yourself. You know, for me, it's all about connection, establishing the connections that I can find. It's helping other people connect to my story in this beautiful discovery life we have. I think when an artist has a strong intent in their painting, in their life, it's well seen. You can see it, and that's what to look for in a good artist, in a good teacher. That strong intent, and rather than, you want to avoid artists and teachers that, you know, are instructing their students to paint like they do. It's okay, but it's not the best way that you should learn how to paint your style and your voice, like Amy said.
And Steve, I know that you are in a museum and you're in Cedarburg, you're doing competitions. I know that you said that you're signing up for those and teaching in some of those as well. And then galleries, where do you see that, the priorities and kind of where that all fits in your intent in life and as a painter? Like you have priorities, and how does that all fit?
Yeah, I'm enjoying life right now. I'm busy working. My side job is Trader Joe's. I do a lot of art for them, and enjoying that job right now. I'm looking to retire early and do the painting and the teaching full time later this year. So that's going to be a fun thing. So currently I'm in a couple of galleries. Castle Gallery in Indiana has about 16 of my paintings. I'm also going to be in the Main Street Art Center Gallery in Lake Zurich. Frankie Johnson is going to be opening up a gallery there in May. So, and then the Cedarburg Art Museum. I think it's good to be in galleries if you can. That wasn't my main priority. My main priority was and is still getting as good as I can, and then showing your work, getting out there. Just like Amy said, you know, she hit the nail on the head when you have just those two intent goals: getting good and getting out there.
In putting together what we'll talk about later about the galleries and putting together the collector series, it became really apparent that galleries are something that we haven't talked a lot about. And so it's interesting that you're in those, and the importance of that being a path for us. It's a very different path from the competitions and getting good. And I don't think it's until you and Amy were just talking about it, about where those might play in our sort of, in our paths. About making a decision one way or the other in a way to really get continue getting good with the competitions and getting known that way, and then also with the galleries of having a place that can represent you. Or so, Steve, I think that the other thing I'd like to know about is do you have a sense of priorities of your ideas of the things that are most important?
Oh, I think right now they're equally important. I would, if I had to pick one, I think design is kind of the bright spot right there. Just because I wrote a whole series about design. But yeah, I think design is still the bright one.
Steve, thank you so much. And thank you for all the time that you give us. This is just, you are such a gift to us. So thank you so much.
Thank you.